Okay, we are going to be building the bottom blocks passenger section. This is the part where the little plastic guys go down in different shapes. We should be looking at activity 5.2b, Introduction to CAD Modeling Skills. Page 11 is where it starts and explains it. Tells us what tools we're going to be using. And then on page 12, it shows us all the dimensions that we need for the part. So let's make sure we're in the Automoblox Blocks project folder. And then we're going to create a new document. It's going to be a part, standard part, create. You're going to create a new sketch to draw all this stuff on. I like that XY sketch, however, this one is definitely already looking down at this part, so we're going to put this one on the X. I'm going to start with my rectangle, the outermost rectangle. Let's start at the origin to make sure it's starting at a good spot. My overall width of this part is 1.975 tab, and my overall height of this part is 1.590. Okay. Double click my scroll button to get to the center of that thing. Now for this outside rectangle, again, I'm looking at page 12 of 5.2b activity. Get this outside rectangle needs some fillets. Select sketch view, fillets. And on the upper left-hand side of the picture, I can see that there are 0.20 fillets. Select the corner. Select both lines, or just if you can wedge into the corner, you can do that. That's it for fillets. Now I'm going to draw the shapes. I'm going to start with the circle. The circle's pretty easy. The diameter is 0.580. Now, I may be moving fast here, but no, you can always pause it and rewind it. I'm going to put some other dimensions. I need to locate this circle as it's related to this outside rectangle. So I need to do the edge of the part, the center of the circle. This dimension should be 0.490. Center of the circle to the top edge of the part. This dimension should be 0.340. Fully constrained, we can move on to the next thing. Next thing we have is a square over here somewhere. I want to make sure I don't choose this fillet center, or else I'll lock that rectangle into the spot I don't want it. Put the one dimension I see on that square, that is 0.580. Then we're going to use one of our constraints. Rather, I could go down here and put a dimension, but let's look at this. Equals. I want this line to be equal to this line. So it makes it the appropriate size by just doing that. Now I need to locate this rectangle within this outer rectangle. So dimension, top edge of the rectangle, the top edge of the part, 0.05. Right side of the part to right side of the outside rectangle is going to be, right in the uppermost point. Looks like the picture has. I like it. Those were the easy parts. I'm going to have to draw this triangle. Again, not too hard. I'm going to kind of exaggerate it being not exactly what you see there. I want to make sure I don't make any triangle, any constraints that I don't want to keep. I don't want any right angles. I don't want things that won't let me change it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start with this triangle. Looking at the page, I can see that this line is parallel with this line. So let me use that. My constraints tab, I can use my parallel constraint. Say that this line should be parallel with this line. I like it. Then I can put a dimension on this line. This line is 638. This is an equilateral triangle, so let's use that equals constraint again. I want this line equal to this line. Oh, I guess I did. And, so it tells me it already exists. And I want this line equal to either of those two lines. Equilateral triangle with a parallel line here and here. So now I need to locate this triangle within this outside rectangle. So I need a dimension. this outside edge to this point right here is going to be 0.20. So that from this outside edge here to this point is going to be 0.050. Looks like it's on my page. I like it. Now here's what's going to be the hard part. Making this star is going to be slightly hard. To make that star, what we're going to have to do is make some construction lines. So we're going to go up to our format panel and select construction. We're going to make a couple inscribed circles. So we're going to start with one circle. The outermost circle appears to have a diameter of 605. And then I'm going to have a circle concentric to that circle that has a diameter of 412. Again, you should be looking on. This is on page 12 of 5.3. Dimensions are all sitting right there. I've got these two inscribed circles. That's great. But let me dimension them so that they are properly spaced within this outside rectangle. This part, the center of this circle, is going to be 4, 8, 8. Say to the circle to here, 3, 6, 3. Now some more tricky part. We're still in construction lines. We need to know where the points of those stars are going to go. So the outside points and the inside points. Here's what we're going to use. We're going to use a polygon. So in our draw tab, we're going to select polygon. We're going to look at this window. So well, this is a 5-pointed star, so we need a 5-sided polygon. So put 5 in there. We're going to have a center with an outer point. So I'm going to draw this polygon, choose the center and an outside point. And where I put it is important. I'm going to look at my star and see that the star has a point at the bottom of this piece. So there's one of them. I'm going to have another inscribed pentagon for the inside center to look at where that inside of the star lands. It's going to be kind of a polygon that looks like that. That's it for polygons. I'll zoom in a little bit so we can see what's going on here. Now I want to turn off my construction lines and I want to build the star. So I can select my line command, start at this point here, click the beginning of my line to the end of my line. Click the beginning of my line to the end of my line. Beginning of the line, and you have to make sure you're at the end of the last line you drew. If you're slightly away, it's not going to work very well. Beginning of the line, end of the line. Beginning of the line, the line. Star has a lot of lines in it. This is how we build them. Beginning of the line, end of the line, beginning of the line, end of the line. So if I did it right and I connected all those lines properly, I have the correct star there. Now those construction lines can be there. They're not going to be affected by what I try and extrude. So I'm going to hit Finish Sketch. Zoom in. And I'm going to see if I can extrude this thing. It does appear I can. You can see that I have those distinct shapes sitting there that won't be cut out. However, some of you might find that your star is not separated. So when you were making a line, something happened that you didn't do correctly. If that happens to you, do this. Cancel your extrusion. Go back to your sketch 1 and edit sketch. And what you're going to want to do is use your constraint panel. You go to the upper left-hand constraint that is coincident constraint. And what that does is that's going to allow us to go from the end of one line, go right to the point, to the end of the next line, right to the point. And if it is not connected, which I must have chosen the same one, it should come up with this. Sketch constraint already exists. That's fine. That's what we really want. So we'll just hit cancel and continue on. We'll go to the next intersection, do the same thing. And if it happens that we get to one that it doesn't give us that command, what it's doing is it's reconnecting those lines to each other. Once we make our way all the way around and do that process, we're going to be able to hit Finish Sketch. We're going to be able to extrude, and when you extrude, it will leave that star out of there. So the distance of this extrusion, as per the isometric on page 12, tells me that it's 0.30. That looks good. The next thing it tells me is underneath the isometric on shell thickness is 0.01. I haven't done shell before, but what the shell does is it hollows out this thing. So what you're going to see at the bottom right-hand side of page 12 is that we want to exclude the bottom from the shell. So let's try that out. Let's find shell. So in my modified panel, I can see I have a shell command right here. Let me click it. If you haven't used it before, you'll want to expand this dialog box so you can see what's going on. I have a thickness of my shell. Well, written on that top right of that sheet, it tells me 0.01 is how thick the shell is. And I want to remove a face. I want to remove the bottom face of here. If you can't select it, just hit your button again. Remove face. There we go. It is selecting, although I have this. It's telling me exclamation part. Something's not right. It is because apparently I didn't put my decimal place here. 0.01. Oh, now it gives me a preview. That's good. Hit your OK button. Now you can see there's a shell there. Now here's what I'm going to want to do. I'm going to want to change my material. Let's go up to my generic. What I'm going to want to do is change it to ABS plastic. ABS plastic is actually my first material. And then I'm going to have to change the color of this stuff. This is going to be green. So to change the appearance, select green. Come down here, select green again. Again, I don't know why that does that, but if I draw a window around everything, everything will become green. What I want to do is hit the check mark. Everything's green. Hit my home button. Make sure it looks like the way it's supposed to look. That is perfect. So that is our passenger base. So what you're going to do is you're going to hit your save button. Name it passenger base with your initials. You're going to save it.